round of applause, everyone.
It's my turn. I was wondering the other day why comedians are all so socially awkward. And I think I figured it out that this is only very marginally more uncomfortable for me than like booking a dentist appointment or like getting a parcel off my neighbour or even waiting for a neighbour to come and collect a parcel. You know, when they knock and they're like, can we leave this here? You're like, don't leave it here. I'll spend my whole night being like, what shall I wear? And then you're like, I want to look like I'm, you know, like relaxed in my house, but I don't want to be braless. So I'm like, I'll wear pajamas and a bra so that, and then you wait by the door, and when the doorbell rings, you say something weird, like before they can say anything, you're like, this is it. Yeah, my family are all very weird. Like my family Christmas just involves my brother making up fake quotes from my grandma. And I'm like, I would love it if it turned out that she did actually say, if you wouldn't take a shit in that position, then don't ride a dick in that position. Like, one day we'll just find the video and be like, shit, he wasn't lying. And last weekend I went home and my mum just fell out of bed really slowly. And while she was falling, she was like saying, this is an accident. And I was like, why? What does she mean? Like, I was like, is she worried that me and my sister think that every morning she wakes up and gets out of bed by rolling like half onto the bedside table and then onto the floor and is just like, out of bed. But yeah, you're probably wondering why we didn't help her. If I'm really, really honest with myself, deep down, the reason neither of us helped her is because she wasn't wearing underwear. And she was also farting. And I shouldn't say this, but it's true. But basically, she's not a native English speaker, and I think maybe when she said, this is an accident, I think she might have meant disaster. But yeah. So I have this thing where my whole life, I always feel like everyone thinks I did something wrong. So like in primary school, they would get everyone in the assembly hall and be like, right, we want the person to own up who took the baby Jesus from his crib in the nativity scene and replaced him with a dead bird. And I'd be like, everyone would go, and I'd be like, oh, I should look shocked or they'll think it was me. So I'm like, oh, that's terrible. And then I was always like, if I just own up, at least they'll respect me for being honest. But then I was like, I'd end up in the headmaster's office and they'd be like, Flo, you're such a nice child. Why did you do it? And I'd be like, I don't know. I have no recollection of even doing it. But it actually still happens to this day. So I do my grocery shopping in Karstad. I'm not rich, but I just buy all of the R stuff because like in Aldi there's queues, in Penny there's queues, and in Lidl you have bad experiences. So I just go to Karstad and it's really posh, and like if there's a queue you can just be like, excuse me, there seems to be a queue. Can you open a little conveyor belt with a little person attached, please? My chauffeur is very impatient and very unstable. But anyway, I was at the checkout in Karstad buying my grocery shopping when all of a sudden this thing recurred from my childhood. Like this woman came running over and said to the cashier, like, excuse me, there's a man in there with no shoes on and he's harassing everyone. And my first thought was, shit, she probably means me. I was like, it's okay, everyone, I'm leaving. I just wanted to see if the tomatoes bounced or not. So yeah, I also have this terrible thing where whenever I say something stupid, when I'm falling asleep, my brain just repeats it over again in a slow, stupid voice. I think everyone has this, right? And I'm like, brain, like, why are you acting like it wasn't you? And then, okay, I'm going to tell you about my friend, because the other day she made a mistake. She was like, you know, the old sex with benefits. And I was like, do you mean friends with benefits? The saying that was invented, presumably, so that you don't have to say sex in public. And then I was like, what would the benefits be? There literally aren't any. Anxiety and dread. What else can I fit into a couple of seconds? Maybe I'll just repeat the advice from my grandma. If you wouldn't take a shit in that position, don't ride a dick in that position. Thank you.